Welcome to the Notorious Scoundrels, a Star Wars Legion podcast bringing you the latest news, general perspective, and competitive discussion.
Hello and welcome back to the Notorious Scoundrels podcast. I'm Kyle. I'm here with Mike and Jay. What's up,
Hi.
gentlemen?
Hi. I'm so I don't know what has happened in the last week. So we've been talking about the RG. Has there been any happenings in the Legionverse? I don't know.
Not really. Invader League's trucking along.
Yeah.
I very nearly lost my game against Hookik, my dog. He was playing the Yoda Saber Padme. He called it Standby Sharing 2.0, and it's as oppressive as you would think it would be. He kicked my butt for 5 turns, and then he made a colossal mistake on turn 6 that let me back in the game, and a series of unfortunate events for him ensued, and I ended up winning.
Is that Saber list that can shoot 4 times or something a turn?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
That's crazy.
The one.
Yeah.
Yep. Many Wookiees were killed.
Yowzas.
It can only shoot 4 times on the Yoda 3-pip turn, right?
It's not like every time. In practice,
it's twice a game. I think if you really try, it's 3 turns a game if you run cards in the right order.
It shot more than I would have liked it to. Let's put it that way.
So half the game it can shoot 4 times a turn.
So here's the thing. It is yes, but you are locked in to playing exactly 6 cards in exactly the same order every game.
Yeah.
If you wanna do that. So it becomes a very predictable, at least from a command card perspective, list,
But I suppose if you're going up against somebody that maybe it just there's certain lists where that just doesn't matter, right? Where you're like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. Try to stop me.
Right?
Yeah.
Some effects are so powerful. The fact that you're predictable doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is one of them. I haven't actually played against the list yet.
It's very, let's just say it's very well positioned against close range skews, like my list.
Sure. Yeah. Standby castles always were, right?
Yeah.
That was a thing. It was super fun. Here, take a 10 die arc shot to the face with piercing sharpshooter. Those were the days. They were fun if you were on one side of the table.
But not the other one.
And the mirrors were pretty interesting, but yeah.
Anyway, so I did make it to top 16 by the skin of my Wookiee fur.
Nice.
Wookiee teeth.
I think it's the hair of your Wookiee fur.
Hair of my, and I play Matten the German on Friday. So and he's playing Rex Star. With an ISP.
Good old classic with a support platform.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
It's very similar to the classic. It's one I look at the list and I'm like, how did he fit an ISP in here? Because this just looks like a Rex Star plus ISP.
Well, if you downgrade the phase 2s to phase 1s, you can actually.
Yeah, he's still got 4 heavies with cores. 4 cores with heavies.
Yeah.
He's still got a couple arcs. He's still got Rex. Still got a clone commander. So R2.
Yeah, I'm jury out on that support platform. I think it's too expensive, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So that's on Friday, and so it looks like guaranteed there will be no more and no less than 3 Rexes in the top 8 because one has made it already, and then there are 2 Rex mirrors in the top 16. So there will be
enjoy it while you can, boys.
Yeah.
Enjoy it while you can.
Yep. Anyway. Yeah, that's Invader League update.
Shall we hit some housekeeping?
Let's hit some housekeeping. Yeah.
Housekeeping.
So it turns out we could go as long as we want. We've had no edict from Kyle on length of housekeeping today.
Go nuts, Jay. Go nuts.
So just a few things. We are prepping to ship box 4. That's probably going to go out next week, ideally, with everything that's going on. We're surfing those holiday delays in the shipping process. So
just to be clear, when he says box 4, he means Stormtide.
Yeah, Stormtide box 4. What else would we be talking about?
I just want to be clear with maybe listeners.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm really excited about this one. We're introducing some structures, which is a new sort of unit type, and then we're also introducing monsters, which is pretty freaking awesome. We've got a bunch of great artists working on the stuff again for this box, and the monsters are super dope. And I've been working on the minis on this end. We're actually so in the box we're going to have tokens that represent the monsters, but we're also going to have the minis for sale for those of you that want them. We'll have the STLs and the models. I'm just finishing up a couple things and testing. I will say this: one of the monsters is large, and so I'm trying to figure out how to print and make that available to you folks at home. That won't matter for box 4, but it will for box 5. So just little teasers there, and so you guys know what's coming up with Stormtide. I'm really excited. I think everything we got going is, so we basically, boxes 1 through 3, we took what you've been doing with Legion today, and we've like kind of babied you and like said, okay, yeah, all right, this is Legion, sure. And then now it's Stormtide, starting with box 4, which I'm really excited about. And so that's cool. And good. Let's see so you could join us on Patreon, so we've had Lucas and Tim on for the last, I don't know, 1,000 episodes. I have no idea. Like it feels
it's been like 4.
Yeah, like the past 1,000 episodes.
It's really been like 2.
Yeah, they're blog writers. Yeah, we split it over but then one came out. Anyways,
cumulative is like 6 hours.
Yeah.
So it's like 6 episodes worth. But
yeah. But they're blog writers, along with Alice and Kyle and am I forgetting anybody? Mike, I guess you still write articles from time to time. And is that it? Am I missing anybody?
We've got John Archicat occasionally. Yeah.
Yep. So he's been doing it every once in a while. And so if you support us on Patreon, that supports the blog writers. And then also we have Legion HQ, which that supports that, keeping that tool updated and keeping the tech going. And then also Legion Quick Guide, which is our other tool, which is a quick reference guide for all of you out there who are like, hey, this PDF's so hard to deal with on my phone. Well, we made a tool, Legion Quick Guide. And you can go to legionquickguide.com and check it out. It's really easy, alphabetized. It's real easy to use. I was actually at a tournament and I told everybody about it before the tournament, because I was also judging, and I was like, hey, use Legion Quick Guide before you come talk to me, because I'm playing. And somebody was like, this is really like, I wish I recorded it, because it was like the perfect ad for the tool. He's like, this is so easy to use. I was like, thanks, man. But the Patreon that supports all of that and supports the podcasts and all the content that you guys get for quote unquote free. The Patreon supporters are the ones that make that happen. So if you want to be part of that and you want to support us, that's great. Any dollar level, you'll also get access to our After Dark podcast. And, we do a QA every month, and you get insight into what's going on at the 5th Trooper, and you get to ask us crazy questions that maybe you don't get to in our other media. I think that's it.
All right. Look at that. I did give you a free raid, and that was like super efficient and quick. Housekeeping.
Sorry.
Imagine that. You just let us do what we were trying to do in a short.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. You know what happens is when I get told what to do, I try to do the opposite of that, because I have a real problem with authority, Kyle. And so when you're like, hey, keep it short tonight, I'm like, now I'm going twice as long. I only have one thing, but now I have 5 things to say.
All right.
All right. That was so dismissive. You know what? Screw you, Kyle.
All right.
Yeah. All right, Jay.
I have no response.
Yeah.
Let's let's move on to our main topic.
Get ready for advanced tactics.
What was that again? Oh,
That
yeah.
was Jay. That was like
I got
a space for a drop right there.
Nah.
He likes to, now that he doesn't
what
edit
was the
these,
drop gonna be?
I don't know.
Probably be tactics and strategy
Yeah.
or something. I don't know.
Legion 101 or whatever that. Yeah.
Yeah, you made the drops. So.
Oh yeah, I did. I did, didn't I? I don't even know what they are anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about Empire list building with the new RRG. So we've kind of previously hit our hot takes on the specific units that were changed in the various factions in the last 2 episodes. So now we're going to kind of hit the factions, starting with Empire, possibly ending with Empire, because that's the most interesting one, at least after the changes. As far as the largest roster of units that were affected. So we're going to go through sort of the state of Empire and try and come up with some list ideas with the new errata and the new points for them. If you want to check out an article on this subject, you can sometime tomorrow, which when you hear this will be Thursday, tomorrow being Thursday, today being Wednesday. You can check out our blog, thefifthtrooper.com/blog. Technophobia/Lucas is going to be posting an article on this very subject, talking about kind of the state of Empire after the changes, similar to the article that Timbo posted last week about the Republic. And if you haven't read that article yet, please feel free to check it out, thefifthtrooper.com/blog. So
now, do we want to set kind of like the guardrails on this? And basically, I think the guardrails so that we're gonna, instead of being like, I understand if people listened last week and heard the list that I won with, that was complete skew list, and I get that, right? And it did very well and blah, 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 blah. But what we're gonna try to do today is actually design what we think could be potentially all-round competitive. Is that kind of the goal, you think, or do you think skew is competitive?
So I think that's probably closer to the truth. I think all-round lists have gotten a lot worse, or rather, I'm not sure they really exist in the way. Like, I'm not sure that there lists exist that are good at everything outside of maybe there's a couple separatist lists. I don't know. I've been having a very hard time building a list that I would consider an all-rounder that I get to the end and I'm like, oh yeah, this looks fine, and just wouldn't get shredded by, 6 melee units.
Okay. All right. So let's start with the obvious, right? So if you're listening to this in the future and you're not up to date, the meta is probably different. But so let's set the tone for the meta today and what we're trying to build the list to combat. So it would be Wookiees, right? And any type of melee unit. Wookiees, probably Jedi or Sith, Force users, and then also a little bit of armor, right? You have to get past as well. Does that sound about right?
I think the armor question is open. With the nerfs to the bus, I don't know. Clearly we're going to see the airspeeder, but I'm not sure how much armor we're going to see outside of the airspeeder and saber tank builds. And I'm not sure the saber tank's a weird thing because I actually think you can't really tech against it, not intentionally. Anti-vehicle stuff is actually not very good against the saber.
It's really not.
Anything that normally ion, not very good against the saber because you're not doing damage to it, right?
If it's supported properly.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So, but you took that as an offensive. Maybe even defensively, you got to be prepared because of the output, right? Of some of that.
What do you? Yeah. That's fair. I think that those two things have high amount of damage outputs that. We can talk about how you might do that, but I'm not sure that that's actually a solvable equation.
That's fair. That's fair. I guess I was just trying to set the tone of what we might be up against. So let me ask you another question. Do you think when we're building these lists, does it make sense to build them towards objectives and being really, really good at our objective deck and trying to go for blue, or do we want to go the other end and just say we don't care about objective deck, we're just going to win?
I think these days, regardless of whether you're building an Empire list or any other factions list, you have to be able to build a list that just like maybe you build a battle deck that is helpful to you in the situations where you roll up to a table and it's pretty well balanced and you don't particularly care what side you have, but you definitely need a list that can sort of flex to I don't care what the cards are, because if you do roll up to a table and it's a bad table where one side is like, wow, I'm gonna get crushed if I pick the wrong side of this table.
Yeah,
you need the flexibility to be able to flex to red if you win the bid, and you won't have that flexibility if your list is dependent or is good at some objectives and bad at others. So
okay.
To kick into that, I also think the prevalence of lists that don't care about the objectives normally, that just like try and run you over, makes it so that like you should care about objectives less. Kind of like you have to be able to play that game a little bit right now. Like if somebody sets up across the table with a list that's going to be able to table you like by turn 3, which is a thing at the moment, objectives aren't going to matter, and your list needs to be able to compete in that scenario, because there's a lot of lists that do that right now.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, and it used to be that you could sort of like defend against those lists with the right objective and like a good defensive setup, but that's not really a thing right now. So maybe a good place to start, as we're talking about the Empire conversation specifically, if we want to get real hot takey here and just like tier list all the Empire units, and then we could
let's do it. Do it.
And then this will give a kind of a framework about like what units do you want to actually build an Empire list around, and then we can kind of work downwards from there. How's that?
Yeah, let's do this within the context of the current meta, because I think one of the things that I have actually like struggled with a little bit is that the lists I've put together that I'm like, this is the list I want to build, and like some points cuts came down, and like I still haven't been able to build a Vader list that like isn't like a melee skew. That like I'm like, you know what, I'd play this. Every time I build one, I'm like, oh, this just dies the Wookiees. And I don't know.
All right, do we want to go top to bottom or bottom to top?
Bottom to top. No. Middle to
hold up. I think we should do neither of those things.
Middle outwards.
Okay. I think we should do this by rank.
What do you mean? Oh, okay. All right, that's fair.
Because I just like, if we start at the bottom, I think we're all going to disagree and bring up like 6 different units.
All right. We'll start by rank.
Okay.
All right, Commander.
Well, can we define the tiers here?
Oh, sure. Okay, let's define the tiers. Go ahead.
So there's S tier, which would be the best. It's like, this is a super overpowered unit, you should always take it type situation. Then there's A, which is like a really good unit that is like above average, that's like well above average. There's B's, which are like pretty good. There's C's, which are average, and then there's D's, which like you can play if you want to, but like we recommend not. And then there's F's. And F's are units that, at least in a competitive setting, you should never put on the table. Are we good with that ranking system?
Yeah, I was going to propose using the one from the hot takes articles, the highly competitive, viable situational handicap thing. But S to F is something that more people can sort of shorthand assess via audio. So okay. Let's stick with that.
Sure.
All right, Commander. Who are your? I guess we should just throw some out there. Let's go on Legion HQ here.
Yeah. This is why I wanted to do it this way, because I think we can just go down the list here.
All right, Callus.
I think Callus is a B.
Yeah.
I think he's a C. I think the points decrease to the whatchamacallit, his bow
The bow rifle.
staff. It's nice. It's nice, but I don't know. Particularly with like Krennic and Veers going down, I think that makes, and we can get to them in a minute, but I think he's fine. Like you can take him, but I don't think he's good.
Yeah, I think he's a C primarily because of Krennic and how ridiculously cheap Krennic is now. Krennic has as good, if not better, command cards. He also has cunning, and then on top of that, he has compel, and he's only 75 points. Now he's not as good like in combat as Callus is. Krennic does almost literally nothing in combat, but he's like so much cheaper now that it's like, if you want cunning and compel and good command cards, just take Krennic.
Yeah, I think why don't we do Krennic next? Because I actually think A, it's relevant to this conversation, and B, I think there's a lot of things that have changed the calculus on Krennic.
Okay.
So clearly he's 15 points cheaper.
Yep, 75.
And then in addition, the Death Troopers are significantly cheaper. I think they got a points drop just as a unit, and then the config is also free now.
Yep.
But
it's 12 points difference.
Which I actually don't think that the points drop on the Death Troopers is such a big deal. The nerf to the ARC Troopers is.
Yep.
And the fact that ARC Troopers don't have critical anymore, and that you're probably not going to see as many snipers on the table generally, I think, in the meta, and because they've continued to be nerfed. I think Death Troopers are a lot safer. And Krennic with Deploy the Garrison is like actually one of the best things to be able to deal with like a large Wookiee charge or something, Yep. So I actually think he's positioned pretty well. I'm gonna put Krennic in it as a B. Like I don't think B, maybe he's an A. I don't know, depending on how the meta shakes out. It depends on how good Death Troopers are right now.
Jay?
Yeah. I would agree with that.
I'm going to actually go ahead and just firmly put him in the A tier,
Okay.
personally.
Right.
I've been spitballing a lot of Empire lists, and like 80% of them end up with Krennic in there. So
yeah, I mean, I think one of the things with Krennic is that like if you're still spamming special forces, which I think is an open question at this point, he's almost a must take, I think. But I think if you're not planning on having 4 special forces, he's like a little less valuable in that situation.
I think also if you're just using a lot of core, whether those are shores or storms,
Yeah,
you want them for compel.
that's fair.
So, all right, Iden.
Jay, why don't you start this one off?
Yeah, I mean, she used to be higher, right? I would say she was probably at one point like a bottom S, maybe A, and I don't know. She's like bouncing into a B for me at this point. I think she's good, but she just, with everything that's going on in the world, in the meta today, she's not as good as she used to be. That's my thought.
Yeah, I think she's probably a B with. Yeah, I think she's a B. I think the fact that Inferno Squad is so cheap now is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The game feels like it's moving away from units like that.
Yeah, and they seem too focusy for like what's going on. Like I feel like you need more like a lot more actionable items going on in the list than like just her and Inferno Squad. It just, they seem, I don't know, old hat at this point.
I just like, so the whole like item thing is like you set it for attack strike, which generally means you're infiltrating, which means you're getting close to your opponent generally, and like against the list nowadays, you really don't want to get any closer if you're playing a list with guns, right? So
I mean, you're not like obligated to infiltrate.
I understand, but then like you're not doing the thing that your list is built to do, right?
Right.
So like, I don't know. it's like, yeah, you can not do the thing, but also like that's what your list is supposed to do.
Right. Like the other option you have is kind of like use her as a sniper, but I mean, who cares at
Yeah.
that
Pretty
point?
good at close range too. Like her range
She
1
is.
attack with the repeater
Yeah.
is silly, and then her melee attack, if you do a loadout tenacity with
Do you
Dio,
feel like the timing on that though? I mean, you got to be pretty good on your timing with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I one shot, maybe not one shot. I like 2-shot item with a pair of Wookiees the other day, and I was just like, oh, she's dead.
I mean, yeah, I mean, she's not going to like by herself be able to take on like multiple Wookiee units.
Yeah, I guess like the thing is like if you're taking her in a list, and you're also taking 2 to 3 ISF, so what do you have points left for that can like deal with those units?
I mean, you can use tactical strike on Death Troopers. You can use tactical strike on IRG. Like,
Sure.
and it's not like you just have to take her for tactical strike either. She's actually, other than the like dedicated melee heroes that have laser swords, she's one of the better melee characters in the game between her health and the fact that she can throw 6 dice.
So do you think tac strike on IRG is actually good? That's an honest question. I'm not trying to be sarcastic.
I mean, they throw 8 black dice.
They do.
With 2 aims and like maybe a surge token or 2 from something like Into the Fray. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get 5 or 6 hits on that. It's not terrible. Maybe 7.
Yeah.
It's not like an optimal use of tac strike, but if you've got IRG lying around anyway because they're now cheap and because they hit like a truck in melee, then it's not like a waste of tac strike, you know?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like she's a little bit of a loss, but I mean, where would you put her, Kyle?
I'd probably say B, just
Okay.
because she's like still like her kit is still exceptionally strong. She's still very good at objectives to the
Yeah.
extent that matters, which I think it does still to some
Yeah.
degree.
There's definitely a non-zero amount of games that objectives will matter.
She's just a great all-arounder. She's a jack of all trades.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm gonna say a solid B. Not like an auto include in every Empire list, but definitely someone that you could choose to build an Empire list around still.
Yeah. So I think we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's jump around here a little bit. Veers.
I'm gonna go with C.
Yeah, I think he used to be a B to an A for me, but with Field Commander, it dropped to a C.
And he might even be a D.
Man,
Frankly.
you guys are being generous.
Yeah, I think C is somewhere between C and D.
Yeah,
he's not an F, but he's close.
I'm gonna say F.
Yeah,
I mean, he's still like 30 more points than an officer.
yeah. The issue here is that his command cards don't do anything.
I mean, maximum firepower is fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Imperial discipline has its uses, but like,
yeah, but not when you need it anymore. Like you don't need it anymore. With General Vice doesn't tap, so you don't need to you don't need to recover with him. You generally take Veers for vehicle. You know what? You've convinced me, Kyle. I'm putting him in an F. like I used to love him, right? Because you would want him with vehicles. He did great with vehicles, but now Field Commander, basically, who cares? So like, yeah.
And he's the same cost as Krennic.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. The thing is, I think he's still playable. Like, I don't think he's an unplayable unit. You know, like if to me the F category is like if somebody sees you put that unit on the table, they're gonna laugh you out of the room.
Okay. All right,
right?
That's fair. All right, so it's the E-Web tier.
Whoa.
I'm just kidding, Jay. I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
Maybe
We're not, we can get to that when we get to that.
I don't even what I honestly, so you're saying F. Listen, I was a staunch Veer. You guys know this. I was a staunch Veer supporter. I really think I wouldn't put him on the table. And if I wouldn't
I
put him
wouldn't
on the
either.
table, then I think he classifies as an F.
Sure. He's tailor made for the Jays of the world, and the Jays of the world are like, this isn't gonna cut. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
we can put him in the F
I'm
category.
like,
Alright.
nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
Like it's basically
that's fine.
yeah.
I mean, his best command card right now is definitely maximum firepower.
Yep.
And literally every separatist list in the game basically has the same thing.
Yep. Sometimes better because if you use it with Kraken, it's sharpshooter too.
Yeah. so like I don't know. Like
It's not as good against vehicles. It doesn't have the impact.
Yeah, I mean his best command card is literally a 2-pip CIS generic.
Well, and for everybody else, like the other thing is for those of you yelling at me, the other reason he was good was, especially vehicle list, was evasive maneuvers, but that just isn't a thing anymore with the way the meta shifted. The vehicles.
I know you're. I'm gonna.
Yeah,
I want to have this out with you a little bit right here because I don't think evasive maneuvers is ever a good card.
So it's a combo, right? Like it's a very specific. You got to have link targeting array. You've got to be set up with a double vehicle situation, double heavy, I think. And because there's points when you play this game that I felt that having the dodge and being able to cancel crits was a real like key to me surviving around so that I could erase a unit. And so that's why it was always like, it was kind of a crucial card for a lot of the times I was playing, especially against clones.
So I hear you. This is why I think it's not good. It never has been. Is that if you've been sitting on the precipice of your list, like making it or breaking it on one dodge token on like a speeder bike, like you're playing with fire.
Oh yeah, but I mean yes, that's true. But I was playing with fire before, like with a double, with a double heavy list. Like it was dumb before. Now it's all the rage. But like, when I was doing it, it was stupid. But having evasive maneuvers, like, sure. Yes, I was banking on things I shouldn't have been, but I mean they helped, right? And I took every little piece I could get, and but that's just not the case anymore. So it's just not required.
It's like a slightly better push if you're giving your orders to vehicles anyway.
Yeah. It's just like the whole like outmaneuver clause on it, like isn't actually good. It's just because it's like not the saber tank,
right? No, it was just it was more of a bonus, so before with the double heavies list, right, on your 3 pips, both your 3 pips, both your 2 pips, they were going to your heavies and veers on the 3s, right? And you were handing out aims, and then on that one evasive maneuvers turn, you were handing out dodges too. And it was just nice for them to have tokens so that you had some options. The way the points dropped and the way things are now, it's just not. Now it is completely silly, and it's even for the risk takers like myself who live on the edge of the Empire glory with double heavies. It's not a requirement anymore, and it means nothing.
All right, Veers F, got it. Okay.
Whoa! Don't try to rush us, Kyle. We're not actually going to build a list.
We got a lot
today.
of units.
We're just going to rank
go
stuff
through here, Jay.
I know when you guys
like
said this, I was in doubt, but you guys both were like, "Yeah, we should do this."
I'd like to build a couple lists once we get to the end.
So
of
we're
this
going
exercise.
long today. Then
it's okay.
What I heard.
We've been going long a lot.
We can snap hit some of these. We don't need to spend like 10 minutes on each unit.
Sure.
Just the ones I'm super passionate about.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So all of them.
Yeah.
All right, Palpatine.
A.
D.
I'm not going to go that far. I'm going to say B. I would like to hear why you say D, Mike.
I haven't been able to build a Palpatine list that I actually like. So I think in the context of previous metas, he's an A or an S. I think in the context of today's meta, I'm not sure where he fits. I don't see it.
Yeah, I disagree, and I have a list that I think is pretty good, and I don't know if it's top tier, but I think it plays a role. And he, this is all list dependent to how we're ranking them, I guess, right? Like you're saying you can't find a list. I'm saying I think I have a list, therefore I'm ranking him higher. But yeah, I think I'll tell you, I think it's a master and apprentice list. I think it's him and Vader, and I think it's a really good list with OP Vader.
I think it could
like
be
we
be
can
good.
get into it. Yeah,
but I think that
I think
it's narrow.
We can get into it, but yeah.
I think if you run into like Yoda Padme Saber, you're going to be in a whole heap of trouble.
Yeah, but I can't just sit here and say, oh, if I run into this list, I'm in a lot of trouble. Like I have to like play to this, and try to do the best that I can.
Well, I think that there are units on these lists that can at least have like a fighting chance against some lists. But like to me, if I look at a unit and I'm like, I don't know how this unit actually would be able to function in a way that like makes this matchup winnable. I kind of am like, it goes down the list quickly to me.
Sure. I live on a wing and a prayer,
Yeah. It's okay, Kyle. Say what you got to say.
All right. So you know me, I have always been a big Palpatine fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's sort of in an awkward spot because he is and always has been really good against aggressive melee lists, but he's also is and always has been really bad against armor.
Yeah.
So I think if the armor gets like gate kept, sorry, I got something caught in my throat. I get a little choke chopper, Palpatine. Oh, there we go. All right. If like the armor lists get gate kept by iron spiders, then I think he could be okay.
I'm with you there. If that's the case, and like the saber is kept in check, I think that he's probably a B or an A, like you guys are spitballing. But to me, if he can't win that matchup, or have a fighting chance at winning that matchup, which I look at a Palpatine list and I'm like, okay, like your IRG can't get anywhere close to the enemy. Palpatine can't get anywhere close to the enemy. In a Palpatine list, if those two units aren't doing work, you're losing. Like that's just how it is.
Yeah, I agree with all you're saying, and I still think I have a list that maybe answers some of that. So,
okay.
And
we could take a look at the end then. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to say B because he's great against some of the meta and terrible against the other half of it.
Sure. Might be good in certain metas, like local metas. Yeah, for sure.
All right, Vader. Let's start with Commander Vader.
We're gonna do Operative Vader with the operatives, Kyle. So
I would say
that's why we're starting with Commander Vader.
He is a high B. Yeah, high B.
I'm gravitating between a high B and an F.
That's a pretty big range.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
Welcome to the Empire, Kyle.
So here's the issue that I have with Commander Vader is that with the compelled trooper keyword, which you're very clearly paying for at this point, you've got to put a bunch of units that like aren't that great in the meta. With that being said, I've definitely put together, like, if there is a gunline list that exists in the game and that works right now, I think he's it. And I think it involves like Stormtrooper T21s with like specialists, and that basically can just like double or even triple aim sometimes, and be riffing off precise. But I haven't gotten a chance to play it.
I actually think a list like that could be pretty good insofar as the T21 Storms or the DLT Storms, whichever one of those you want to take, are both good against armor. So check that meta box, right? And then Stormtroopers amongst all of the core units are arguably the best against melee units because they have red saves. They're reasonably cheap. And they also throw a surging black dice in melee. So with those specialist units, you're talking about like every single one of your core units, which you might have 5 or like 6 of, is throwing 6 black dice in melee. That's 3 Wookiee models.
Yeah, I mean the ones that survive the initial charge. Yeah,
sure, but like, the point is, like, stormtroopers are actually, for a thing that's not a melee unit, pretty darn good at melee.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if a list like that is good, I think it'll be great. I think it remains to be seen on whether like it can do enough damage to the Wookiees before they get there. But I think it's got play against armor. Vader, I actually think we're living in a world where the right build on both Vaders is to take saber throw instead of choke.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Which is a world that I don't want to be living in, but we're in. I think the right loadout on Op Vader right now is Force Push saber throw. So
chunk that 3 health off armor.
Yeah, it's just like okay.
And frankly, with the kind of dice that Vader is throwing now between the surges, and then you can easily give tenacity to operative Vader.
Yep.
Like, if you get in against the red save gun line, which is the thing that you'd be most using choke against anyway, you're gonna murder it with the lightsaber. Like, you don't need to be choking dudes.
Yeah, I mean, the lightsaber was good when like you were choking out like phase 2 heavies, right? But people aren't going to take those anymore.
Now you're still going to be potentially doing that against like an Empire mirrors, right? Like, there's going to be a lot of Empire players out there running what are functionally red save gun lines.
Yeah.
But with that being said, like a surging Darth Vader like kills a 6 health unit on average with his lightsaber.
That's what I mean. Like, there's not going to be anything left to choke anyway. So yeah.
So
I'm going to go with B. And my primary reason actually has nothing to do with what you guys talked about, and it has everything to do with how good operative Vader is. And I think if I'm going to run that Storm specialist list thing, I'd rather just take operative Vader and Krennic.
I think that's very possible too, frankly. I've been should we just like reveal the things? So I've been messing around with a Commander Vader list that if you like new ways to motivate them on the turn you tap the specialist, it's kind of stupid. And like you can do it on like 4 units if you take Gideon because he's like super cheap now, and like there's like a whole bunch of stuff you can do there. And so you take like a unit of shores and do some janky stuff, but I don't know. I think that there's room to get a little like move specialist aim shoot is like a range 5. It's basically take that clankers.
Yeah. That's it is. It's not basically, it is.
I mean, like, well, you're going to be at range 3 of whatever shoots you.
Yeah, so it's not quite as good because you're closer to your target after the end of it.
But as far as like what I get to reach out and touch, it's basically the same.
But you could do it like a peekaboo: move, specialist aim, shoot, move back.
You totally could. It's far more flexible, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
They're also a lot cheaper than the units you would be doing that with normally. So.
Oh yeah. What is the? Well, we'll get to it when we get to core units.
Okay.
All right. The last commander is the generic officer.
Yeah. Oh. S.
C.
I'm gonna go with B. And it's just because I can pay 30 more points for Krennic.
Or I could pay 30 points less than.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not convinced Death Troopers are going to be the deal.
I don't think you need to take Death Troopers if you run Krennic.
That's fair. That's maybe true too. You just lose some value. I hate losing value.
I know. He's only 75 points now.
I know. I get it. I just like if I have a keyword on a unit like entourage or retinue or whatever, I'm not able to like, it bothers me.
Yep.
S tier, really. Auto
Yeah,
take.
I think still the best commander the Imperials have access to by far.
S tier, auto take. You're auto taking it every
Yeah,
every list.
I think even if you take any of these other commanders, you're still putting a generic officer on your list if you're building it correctly.
Hard disagree.
Okay.
I mean, a 45-point reasonably useful activation it's good, but like there's also, now that the strike teams have low profile, that's a 48-point as or more useful activation. You've got so many other Empire units that are like in the neighborhood of like 65 to 70 points.
It's possible with all the Empire points cuts that it's no longer S tier, but I think as far as Empire goes, like if you look at, I feel like I can guarantee if I pull like the top 10 Empire lists from the seasons of a Vader, and I understand that's previous meta, they would all have generic officers in them, even if they had other commanders.
They're going to be popular, but all right. Operatives?
Yeah.
This is easy.
Yeah, there's only 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Let's
Boba.
start with both F.
I'm gonna go D.
I'm going to go C.
Sure.
And there's one reason that I'm making him that high. And that one reason is whipcord.
I think Whipcord is super good right now.
Yeah.
Like Whipcord is like I wish I had it in every list.
Yeah.
Again, this is the thing you guys always yelled at me about doing, right? So you're taking a unit for just one card.
It's not the only thing he does all game, Jay. Like he's still reasonably good.
Is he?
Is he 120 points good?
No.
Probably not, which is why I'm,
Yeah, I don't
Why he's a
agree
C
with C.
for me.
I think he should be a D. I could see F, but I do think Whipcord for me is the difference between him not being an F. And,
yeah, clearly.
And
Yeah.
because I think rooting a melee unit in place is super powerful right now.
He's also the only unit that can like reasonably one-shot R2 and score a point in the process.
Sure.
Okay.
He's not good,
No,
just to be clear.
all right. I mean, the highest between the 3 of us, the highest we gave him was
Are
a
we-
C. So
Are we like? I feel like I'm in some alternate reality. He's an F, man. Like,
He's
I don't know why we're playing games, and you guys are doing the one thing you always yell at me for doing, and you guys are just okay with it now that you're doing it. Well, his one card is good. Jay, we don't take units for their cards. That's crazy talk.
you do if they're really good.
Yeah, I mean, look, if this is also a meta thing. If we didn't need Whipcord in today's meta, he'd be an F. Like I think like based on what's going on, like he's also not that bad against armor, right?
Yeah.
He's got the rocket. He's in his generic attacks have impact and pierce.
And
You're
search
wasting
crit.
so many turns on like random shit though. Like,
Oh, I'm with you. Like I think Boba
that's
Fett,
crazy.
The fact that like Han got steady and Boba Fett didn't bothers me to no end.
Well, they have openly said that the bounty hunters are getting
I know.
something resembling a rework when the Shadow
So,
Collective wave hits.
Why couldn't they
So,
rework them twice? Give us something.
Jay,
is
I am not in charge
bull.
of these things. I couldn't tell you.
Anyways, okay. Yeah, we got it.
All right, Boba Fett. Bad.
Yep.
Okay. Bosk.
C ish. C-ish. I guess I just don't know right now where he stands. I'm struggling with placing him. So I'm gonna put him in the middle of the pack.
I'm gonna say C. And there's one primary reason for that, and that is the T-47.
Yeah, the T4, he's definitely not great again. Here's the thing. Lion
Yeah.
and Wade is still really good against the T-47.
It is, but like they can just kind of gimp him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think his kit is actually like pretty good against that list as long as you don't like make a mistake.
Yeah, and you give him Hunter, like he's pretty good against Wookiees.
Yeah, I think like you slap Hunter and Tenacity on him and you hit a Dioxis charge. on the Wookiees on the way in, like you can actually like really mess them up.
I feel like if you have to say if you don't make a mistake, then it's not an A unit.
Well, I think Bosk is a little, that's maybe fair, but I actually think Bosk is in a similar vein to like Palpatine, where like if you make a mistake, you just lose the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, Maul's kind of like that. Maul's like an S tier unit, so
Yeah, I just like there's definitely he's super fragile. The no doubt about it. 7 white dice when you don't surge on defense is like super bad.
Yeah, and listen, I'm open to the argument. That's why I put him at C. I'm kind of like, I don't know. Like, I know he's good and I know he can do good things, but like, I don't know how he plays in this meta right now either, you know?
Yeah, I think the only reason he's like not S tier, and he like before these changes, he was definitely S tier for me. But the fact that he's an operative, and I think you actually want to be doing other things with your orders in Empire right now, I think is actually a pretty big problem.
Yep.
That's my issue with him, because you can't play Bosk and not have orders on him.
Yeah, I mean, basically, my thing is any of these operatives that you take, if you don't have C's on them, then you're doing it wrong.
well,
Yeah.
you could also do the Krennic comms relay entourage gimmick.
Yeah,
You definitely could.
yeah, or that, right? But yeah, you need to be able to get them in order, or you do it. You're doing it wrong.
Yeah, if I'm running Bosk, I'm probably running it with Krennic for that reason. All right, Operative Vader.
I think he's an S tier right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with A.
I'm going to say S. Also,
I think the reason I say A is because I don't think you can just throw him into any list and it'll be fine.
oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely need to build a list around him.
Yeah.
But I think like if you're going to pick one unit in the Empire to build a list around,
yeah, I'm with you
it's
there.
him.
But I would say too, to that, I think there's multiple lists he can fit in now. That you kind of go, oh wow, he can fit in that. All right, you know. So I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, I think
He's super good.
Yeah,
you
a
know.
round agreement on him.
Yeah.
Yep, super good. All right, core.
Yeah.
All right,
Can we all
Shores.
just agree that snows are like still F tier?
If maybe D, but
I'm gonna say D, because I think the Ion is actually kind of interesting now.
I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, I was seeing people doing this. It's not good.
it's
I mean, it's only, what is it with the Ion?
It's
it's
not good.
okay. There's a lot.
It's 62 points with the Ion. Like if you're making like a build that you're trying to build for anti-armor anyway, with like the specialist T21 storms, just throw like one Ion snow in there for cheaper.
But
It's good
why
against
would
droids, too.
you do that when you can just take a unit that actually can do damage to armor?
It can do damage to armor. You're
It
throwing
like maybe does 1 wound, maybe.
yeah, but then you throw an Ion token on it.
Yeah, but it's like not even like a sure bet. And on average, they don't even roll a critical.
They've got 7 dice.
Right, which means they fail the 8 die test. On average,
50-50.
They don't throw a crit. They don't throw a crit.
I got him.
I mean,
Alright, well,
that's the math.
I mean, it's for droid troopers more than it is for
Got him.
Sure. I mean, like, and that's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
I just like if I'm like shooting B1s or B2s, like I would just rather do more wounds to them than throw an ion token down.
I don't know. I'm gonna say D and not F because I would not be like embarrassed to have a snow trooper on the table. Let's put it that way.
Sure. I hear you there. I just I guess if I'm taking snow troopers, I'm still taking the flamer and the impact grenades. It's like it does what the ion trooper is doing and trying to do like way better.
The flamer is super fun.
It's like it's better against droid troopers because you just kill them, and against armor, like you can actually do damage to them. So
The only reason I bring the flame trooper is because I made flame troopers.
your flame troopers are dope.
with flames.
They're really sweet. Yeah. All right. D to F. Shores.
C.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm going to say B, because shores have always been really good in a Krennic list where you can bounce that order to the first shore and then, use your command cards to order the second and or third shore.
Mm-hmm.
You can very easily make a Krennic list now with like 2 to 3 shores in it and just have orders on all of them every turn. And then throw a bunch of other crap in there too, because you now have like a lot more points to work with. You can do like Krennic Bosk triple shore Death Trooper situation.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say B.
You can.
Yeah, and that would be good because
does it hold up?
See, that's the thing. I'm not convinced a gun line like that can exist right now. Maybe it can. And
I think if there's
know.
one that can, it's that one, simply because Krennic, more so than other support characters, aside maybe because Rex, because of Call Me Captain, but Krennic is sort of uniquely positioned against melee units because of Deploy the Garrison. So
yeah.
So you think that, what was it, the 11 or 12 activation Krennic Boss gun line could be a thing again?
I don't think you can get up to 12, but yeah,
10.
I can see it. 10 to 11. Yeah.
All right. Stormtroopers. Yeah, B.
Yeah, I think Storms would be. I think they're better than Shores right now, so I'm gonna give them B.
Yeah, I think they're more versatile.
I'm gonna also say B.
Stormtrooper specialists just seem bonkers cheap to me.
They do.
And I'm actually I'm sort of okay with those types of abilities being cheaper. Like I like the idea of like having personnel and squads being more frequent.
I don't like that I want to go buy like 6 specialist packs.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't like that.
That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's fine that's like the version of the unit that is good and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like that you get like one model in a $35 upgrade pack.
Well, I do think
I guess if you're taking the T21, right?
It's really all about
I guess those are in the same pack.
The heavies are an issue too, because I think the T21 is kind of the go-to gun right now too. But I also think that it's more a card issue than because specialists and captains, I actually think you can kind of have whatever model be those as long as you have the upgrade these days.
Probably.
And you can clearly, your opponent clearly knows which one's which or whatever. Right?
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think the card thing is an issue for sure. Maybe they do a card pack or something. I don't know. That would be a nice solve.
I mean, they were going to do those at one point.
Anyway, Storms B. Primarily because of the personnel upgrades.
Yep.
All right. Special Forces.
Are we skipping mortars? Or are we just including that in the short conversation?
Oh, yeah. I guess we can rank them separately, but I would have included them as part of shores.
That's fine.
I did in my head.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did too. Death Troopers.
B.
I'm gonna go with a D.
I'm gonna go with a C.
We're all over the place.
I have a hard time justifying putting 100+ points into a unit that basically gets one shot by Wookiees at any range. Or close to it.
You lose a couple models, but you don't get one shot.
I just the issue with Death Troopers has always been, at least for me, when you lose a model in Death Troopers, they're just not worth their points anymore. It's the same problem that full arc units had, I think, in that enough of their damage is not gated behind the heavy that once you start losing like single models in the squad, this unit was not worth 110 points. If it gets to shoot, without losing models, it definitely is worth that price point. But I feel like as soon as you start losing a model or two, it's just like, why is this unit in my list? I could take an Ashore unit, and losing a model there is much less of a deal, and they're so much cheaper.
So yeah, I put it up at B. The interesting thing to me is the DT F16 with Compel, like that one. I was like looking at some of this like interesting stuff through Compel with Krennic and Commander Vader, and like how can you potentially move, like force other units to kind of get in the way of some of those like Wookiee attacks, you know, so that you could like reposition or do something else. And so that piece to me is interesting. I don't know if it works. It's just interesting, you know, and it's something I think could be doing something. I don't know what, but
I think
still
if
working it out.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think if Commander Vader like didn't have Compel Core, it would be more of a conversation. But I just like with Vader basically having that keyword anyways, like there's no reason to pay for it twice.
Yeah, DTF 16 is like the third best unit that has Compel, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think if you're taking Krennic, then you're also taking Death Troopers. And then if you're taking Death Troopers, you're just going to take the heavy because you already have a copy of Compel. So I'm going to say a C just because of how cheap Krennic is now. And like there's still a good counterpart to Krennic.
I love that's how you've ranked most of our units in this. It was like, well,
what can I say? I
'cause
like a
Krennic's
75
cheap.
point Krennic.
It's funny because I actually think that the only list that I would like consider taking DTs in is actually a Veers list, because like Imperial discipline actually matters there.
Or Iden with Tactical Strike.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
They do a pretty nasty Tactical Strike, whether it's the range 4 version or the range 2 version.
They definitely like losing models matters a lot less if you're like range 2 in people. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that's okay.
And like you can still, you know, the old way to run DTs was taken with medics and or IRG to mitigate that weakness. So I think you can still do that.
IRG and Compel. See, that
Yeah.
Compel is getting a lot more interesting, isn't it?
They can
just,
compel
like-
just fine off a Krennic. Jay.
At 106 points, they're still like pretty expensive to me.
They are.
And that's without like recon intel or offensive push or
Yeah, I mean, none of us gave us, you know,
yeah.
somewhere in the middle there. We're
Yeah.
fine. All
All
right.
right.
Well, since you mentioned IRG, let's do IRG.
B now. There B.
Yeah, I'll give him B. I'm okay with B.
I'm gonna say A for 2 reasons.
Just to be a contrarian,
Probably.
just basically.
No, those it's really 3 reasons. Well, I guess 2 of them are related. The first is that they get a lot of value from some of the new upgrade cards, particularly the training upgrades that are coming out with the Kashyyyk wave, particularly Protector and Into the Fray. They're the only like melee style unit that doesn't surge. That's not a character naturally, but that also like their natural dice are red black, which is, you know, functionally the same as like surging black, but they can upgrade that red black to surging red black when you give them Into the Fray. So they're the only like melee linebacker style unit that benefits offensively from surge tokens. Like surging red black it's pretty hard hitting in melee. And then just from a meta perspective, like we're in an aggressive melee meta, so you know they're gonna have targets. They're gonna have things to whack with their sticks.
Yeah, I guess maybe so. Part of the problem I have just with the Empire list in general, when I like sit down and make one, is I look at it and like I have some biases from previous metas, and I look at every list and I'm just like, IRG have never been good to me. from like I've never put an IRG on the table and been like, oh, this feels good. Maybe it does now, but I'm having a tough time being like, yeah, into the fray just solves that problem. Like, from where I sit.
I mean, the context I've always used him as historically has been as a counterpart to Palpatine in a anti-melee skew list. So
yeah,
and they're great in that role.
Yeah, I mean, I think, but the case you're making is that they're great outside that.
Well, you can also use them as their own melee skew, like
Yeah,
Vader, 3 dewbacks, 2 IRG, and then enough core to make it 10 activations is like a thing that fits now.
yeah, totally, it totally is, and I think that those lists might be good for sure.
Like, because you can't, you can't take 5 dewbacks, unfortunately.
Right. Because if you could, you would. To be clear.
Yes, but what you can do is take 3 dewbacks and 2 IRG.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yes, you would definitely take 5 dewbacks if that was allowed. All right. ISF, Imperial Special Forces.
See.
I'm gonna go with a D here. Actually,
T21 did get cheaper.
It did. I just like the thing that this unit does is put your red save units like very close to the enemy, and like if that's not the plan, you should just take Death Troopers instead.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
It's just how I feel about it, and I think Death Troopers are, I don't think positioned super well in the meta, but if we have to pick between those 2 units, I'm taking DTs over ISF right now every time.
It's fair. DT is also incidentally possibly better at tactical strike, which is what you were taking ISF for. So
yeah, they like don't need to infiltrate to like reach out and touch somebody with their range 4 guns.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
The one thing the ISF do better is crit fish.
Totally. They're better against armor for sure.
Do you agree with all that, Jay?
Yeah.
All right. Inferno.
I mean, I don't know the unit. I don't know, but the upgrades are yes.
I mean, the unit is 88 points now.
It's cheaper than a standard ISF squad. Yeah, yes. I mean, I don't. The thing is, I think it's an ISF squad still might be better, at least without the retinue keyword. Like if you're not triggering retinue every turn, I think a standard ISF unit is still better than Inferno squad.
I think you have to assume that you are, right?
Yeah, which means you're taking Iden, right? Yeah. I think in an Iden list, Inferno squad is like you always take it. I think the thing is that I actually think Gideon's like a pretty good choice as a core unit option now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want like kind of what you were saying, Jay. Like I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, because we're like they're part of the unit, but also separate. So I like Dell and Gideon. I don't care for Inferno.
Well, it's like you would never put 5s in an arc squad, right? Like that's just not a thing you would ever do, right? I think it's very similar.
Yeah.
If Gideon is good enough that he's like in Empire lists now, which I think he might be, you're never taking Inferno squad, with the exception of maybe an Iden list, which is fine.
I'm gonna say C, just because I think if you take Iden, you're always taking him, and Iden's pretty good.
I think in the Iden list, it's an S.
Yeah. Oh, clearly. Yeah.
Like you should never leave if Iden is in your list, you should never leave home without Inferno now.
Yeah, it'd be like taking Palp with that IRG back in the day.
Yeah.
Like you just don't do that.
Yeah.
It's like
which is how it should be.
Yeah.
I'm all about things that make sense from a theme perspective.
All right, full scouts.
Yeah, I think they're a C.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I'm gonna third that.
Can
you imagine a world where we're ranking full scouts as anything but an F?
Yeah.
No, but here we are.
We got them, boys.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, yeah.
Yeah. See,
I actually think these are the best thing to tax strike with.
They're certainly the cheapest thing to tack strike with.
I think they're also the most lethal, if as long as you get all dice on target. Depends on what you're shooting.
It depends on what you're shooting and what you're shooting it through. Like if you're shooting into any sort of defense, then the ISF are going to be better because of all the crits.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're shooting into armor for sure, but like you got sharpshooter, and you're gonna have like 2 aim tokens on 10 black dice with Pierce, like that's really good.
Yeah, if you take the sniper upgrade, yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was just assuming that we were taking the sniper upgrade. I think that there's a conversation for the naked as well. Yeah. They're like a super core unit at that point.
48 points for something that has low profile is 4 models, so it's the same wound count as like a rebel trooper unit.
Yeah.
And throws 8 black dice at range 2 with sharpshooter. And has scout 3.
Yeah.
Seems
like if you could pay 8 points to take your naked rebel troopers and upgrade them to the naked scouts, you would totally do it.
Yeah, 100%.
Like every time.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement there.
Yep. All right, Scouts strike team.
All right, I have 2 answers to this. I think the Sabs are better than the sniper right now.
I'll agree with that, but I also think both of them are an F.
Really?
Well, I don't agree with that half of that statement. I was like,
you
hey,
gentlemen
Mike's
are both
with
going to
me.
have to explain yourselves.
All right, well, let me rank them. So I would say snipers are a D and Sabs are a C right now. And I say that because where the meta's at with everybody that's bum rushing you, I think the bombs make them think twice, and you can start laying out some protection for the rest of your army. So like if you're doing a gun line, I think having Sabs would be great because you would just line up some bombs. You're hitting them before, you know, they can get in close, and then your gun line's hitting them at the same time. So I like that much better. I think you could do more damage to more units. Snipers, traditionally Empire snipers suck, and everyone who plays Empire snipers knows this. Yeah, don't give me that. They don't surge. They're the worst. They usually blank out.
They're fine.
I'm gonna be honest. After playing clone snipers for like a year,
dude, you cannot
compare.
compare.
I can't go back and play Imperial snipers anymore.
They're the worst.
It feels so bad.
They're fine.
They're not fine.
Whether they're okay or not, it's just like it hurts to be like, what do you mean I don't kill a model? You know, like I don't know.
So so that's where I would put it. You're more likely to kill with this more of the melee units with the Sabs than you are with the snipers, and that's where we're at today. So that's where I would put them.
I'm gonna say C for both. I think you guys are underestimating the snipers a little bit.
No, dies the T-47s. They just die. It's like not even close. They
sure,
just
but you're not like
immediately
always
fall
going to be
over
facing T-47s.
I think you're overestimating the snipers a lot.
Yeah, I also like the snipers are not worth their points at this juncture. Like, okay, great, you got snipers. Go shoot their Wookiees. Like,
well, you're not shooting Wookiees though. You're shooting like MK2s and Rebel Troopers and Rebel Vets. You know,
maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Which those lists also have in them.
Yeah, I think the Sabs are better. I think the Sabs are better at killing things these days.
They might be.
And the ceiling on the Sabs is just so much higher.
Oh, you can just completely like win.
So let me add this too to why I'm ranking the Sabs higher. Not only the bomb, but then the opportunity with the Scout 3 that they're usually in the mix anyway. So you're getting off 4 black dice with a shot too. So like the versatility of them is much higher than sitting back with your snipers trying to like hopefully pick something off. With the Sabs are in the mix where they need to be right now, you know, with the melee. So that's
I also think that like the things that the snipers are shooting at got a heck of a lot worse. Like clone gun lines, which are like what you wanted the snipers for, are gonna be less good. I don't know if you need them anymore.
Yeah, they'll be at their best in Empire mirrors probably.
Likely, yes, for sure. Yeah, I think they're an F tier.
He's gone.
I think like
Oh, he's back.
oh yeah, I'm lagging a little bit, so I mean it'll probably be fine on the audio. I just got a notification that my internet connection is unstable. Nice.
Oh no.
Anyways, so yeah, I think they're F tier, and I think just because I think all of the other options we've talked about today are much better than strike teams. Like I would take a naked squad of scouts before I took either strike team right now.
And I wish I could clip the last 15 seconds of what you said and like go back in time 2 years.
Yeah.
Play it for somebody.
Yeah.
I just like, I mean, the strike team is the sniper strike team is the same as the naked unit, full unit.
Yeah. And I might rather have the naked unit.
Yeah. I just like,
I think it could be like really interesting to run 3 naked scouts up there for 48 points apiece. And
practically free.
Yeah. Right. And then your opponent forgets about him. And then like you move and you shoot him and they're like, wait, how many dice is that?
Yeah. You're like, oh.
Why do you keep picking up dice? What is this? Oh yeah, they have sharpshooter.
Yeah.
Roll 5 saves.
Yeah.
These guys are 48 points.
Yeah. Which I think they're probably fine at 40. But anyways, I think strikes are F tier because I would never take them right now because I'm taking the naked full unit in any situation that I would take either of those strike teams.
All right, that's fair. All right, should we hit support?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hit support.
We'll plow through support and heavy.
Yep.
Do back.
S.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Well, that was easy. How these guys are now 75 points or 70 points. See, I even had a Freudian slip there. They are 70 points.
Love it.
Yeah, crazy. I would start like most Empire lists, which is 3 do-backs.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then buy like 8 other things because you can afford to.
Yeah, like 2 ATSTs.
Yeah. I also think like, they're a cumulative 25 points cheaper than they used to be. Because the blaster rifles also 5 point. Like you should always take a blaster rifle, just to be fair.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, they are really, really good against Wookiees for everybody out there listening.
Yeah. I mean,
they're good against everything, basically.
They're good, pretty much. They're good against armor. They're good against melee. They're like decent in a gunline fight. They're definitely in their heyday.
Finally, huh? They started with the wrong size base, and here they are, S tier.
All right. Yeah. Anyway, E-Web.
D.
Yeah.
F.
The only reason I put them at a D is with a double tank, double E-Web. It can do some crazy stuff.
I'm gonna be honest. I know it sounds crazy. And you gotta just understand you're dealing with a mad scientist.
All right.
But an E-Web in a tank, I found, because I have to play against it all the time, it is actually more scary than it probably
that's fair.
People would give it credit for.
I'm still giving it enough.
Yeah, I understand.
I mean, listen, I only went as far as a D. Everywhere else it sucks, but you put it in the back of the tank with an onboard comms and a link targeting ray, and you got magic, my friend.
All right, that's fair. Speeder bikes.
F.
I'm gonna say D. And that reason primarily has to do with the fact that they have impact 2 on their guns.
Yeah, all right.
They're still pretty solid against armor.
Yeah, assuming the armor doesn't shoot them first.
Yeah,
but they're the same cost as a do-back, and like, why would you ever even consider that?
Yeah.
You're right. I'm sorry, I changed my mind. F primarily because they're the same cost as a do-back.
Yeah.
And they share the same slot, which makes it even worse. All right, heavies. ST.
B.
B. Yeah, I think B is fine.
Yeah, B. All right. Look at that.
With the reservation, the Weiss ST is a B. Every other ST is like a D.
C. I would give it the other ones a C. I'll say C on that.
The Hammer's ST's decent.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think
I would never take.
No, I think if you're taking one ATST, then yeah, it's Weiss
It's
every
the Weiss
time.
one, yeah.
Yeah, but if you're taking two, yeah, the second one is going to be elevated by the first one.
Yeah.
That's just how it works, you know. So
Mm,
Yep.
yeah.
All right. Lat.
F.
F.
F. All right. Gav.
F.
F.
D, because of the E-Web thing. That's the only reason.
The thing is the E-Web is the reason that combo is good, not the.
But you
not
need the
gas.
take for it to work.
You know what the E-Web doesn't do for the Gav, though?
Yeah,
It doesn't let it drive over higher terrain.
Yeah.
that's true.
You don't get to use the head of the E-Web stacked on top of the Gav.
Yeah.
I feel like the Gav should just have a special rule that's called like something that implies that it's just like plowing through walls and stuff that makes it move like a repulsor.
It was one of those units where I was just like, I don't think they fully thought this out. Like, you know, there's a lot of stuff, and we saw that with the deployment zone issue, and you know, like okay, guys. But
Yeah.
it's a fun unit. Anyways, D.
Okay. All right. Well, now that we've done that, let's spend like 5 minutes doing
5
some list.
minutes. All right.
10 minutes doing some
So
list
let
building
me
stuff
give you
on.
my master apprentice.
All right, let's
one.
hear it.
All right. So
How about we
it's
each
Palp-
do one list?
All right,
Man,
that
I
sounds
gotta
good.
make a list. All right. One second.
So mine is Palpatine with anger and esteem leader. Vader with saber throw, force push, seize, and tenacity. OP Vader. 6 naked stormtroopers and 2 naked guard. So that's 10 activation, $7.99. And like basically the idea I had was that Vader and okay. So my list is Master and Apprentice. It's got Palpatine with anger and esteem leader, OP Vader with saber throw, force push, seize the initiative, tenacity, 6 naked stormtroopers and 2 naked royal guard. So like my thought with this was that you could get aggressive with Vader and the royal guard, and then Palpatine's just kind of slowly moving up in the back with the stormtroopers, and just with the steam leader throwing stormtroopers in the way, and they're kind of doing the guardian job until he gets where he needs to get, and then he lightnings it.
Yeah, seems fine.
Yeah, I mean that's one way of playing it, right? You could do a couple different ways, but that's kind of how I saw it.
Okay. You got something, Kyle? Or do you want me to?
Yeah, so I have 2 options here. One of them is Vader, a much more serious Vader chronic list, and the other one is double bounty.
Oh God.
Which one do you want to hear about?
That's not the double bounty one because it's trash. Continue.
But you can fit
Has Boba Fett in
both
it.
bounty
Continue.
hunters, 3 stormtroopers with specialists, death troopers, and 3 scout troopers in it. All right,
Okay.
whatever. You're right. It's probably bad.
All right, whatever.
Continue.
All right. I'm actually not done making the other one, so why don't you go first?
Sure. So mine is 1 stormtrooper unit with Gideon and a stormtrooper specialist, 4 stormtrooper units with T-21s and stormtrooper specialists, Vader with Commander Vader with vigilance, throw, push, burst of speed, 3 naked scout trooper squads, full units clearly, and 1 Imperial officer with electro binoculars, clocking in at 792.
How's that? That's so many things.
There's so much. There's so much dice.
And so you can like on turn 1 or turn 2, like give orders to 3 stormtrooper units, but binox them before they go, and then move, shoot with 2 aim tokens on them. And it can't be broken up because you have compel. Like there's literally nothing you can do. Like it's just gonna happen, and you're gonna have to be okay with it.
Yeah, it seems painful.
Yeah. So.
All right, here's mine. Krennic, Operative Vader with push, saber throw into the fray, and tenacity. a unit of Death Troopers with the DLT and comms relay, a unit of Shore Troopers with the T21B, 2 Storms with a Specialist and the T21, a Mortar, and then 3 Naked Scouts. 10 activations, 800 points. The Shores always have an order because of the relay thing. You got Krennic, you got Operative Vader, you got some Specialist Storms, and you have Naked Scouts for people to forget about until they get clapped in the face.
Well, and they're dealing with Vader, so they've got other issues.
Yeah.
Well, and I'd like to point out to all you folks at home, each one of those lists had Vader in them.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. I mean,
here, let's do a do-back list real quick because nobody made a do-back list.
Sure. I was gonna, but I sort of assumed that was what you were gonna do. And, you know.
Sorry. Let me make a do-back list.
Yeah, Kyle, you really messed up.
I'm sorry.
We both thought, oh, Kyle's got the do back list, and then went in a completely different and weird direction.
So, yeah.
Sorry, I'm working on it.
Kyle's
I was just gonna let the dead air sit. Why not?
yeah. Well,
I figured you were just gonna cut it in post anyways.
I mean, we definitely could.
Okay, here we go. I lied. Sorry. I thought
Okay, I'm coming up with a new Death Trooper list. Or
I have one for you, Kyle.
All right, here, I got it. All right. Vader, Operative, with those same upgrades. Push, Saber Throw into the fray. Tenacity. 1 Shore unit naked. 1 Storm unit naked. 1 Mortar naked. 2 Naked Scouts. 3 dewbacks with Tenacity and a T21B. Sorry, not the B, just the regular T21. An Imperial officer and a unit of Royal Guard with Electrostaff. 11 activations. 800 points.
So I went in a different direction, and this is crazy, but I went I thought you were going to go Krennic because you love Krennic so much.
Yeah.
5 Storms with T21s, 3 dewbacks with T21s, and 3 Scouts for 12 activations.
Okay. So hear me out on this one. Emperor Palpatine with Burst of Speed, Anger, and Force Barrier. 3 dewbacks with T21 blaster rifles that I'd like to point out you can pull the strings on.
Yes.
3 naked stormtroopers, 2 IRG units with electrostaff guards, and a full scout trooper squad for 10 activations. or a naked scout trooper squad for 10 activations.
Oh my god.
You have no strike teams in that list. 6 melee units and Palpatine. And there are 5 units that can trigger Relentless or charge off both the strings.
That's ridiculous.
Oh,
you might want to find a way to put a medic in there. I don't know, but yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean, Palpatine's got barrier too, just to make that.
Just for giggles.
Well, I mean, barrier plus armor on the dewbacks is actually like
it is
pretty good.
Yeah. Plus Guardian.
Yeah. Good luck killing them.
Yeah, Chris.
Well, I think that was a really good. Yeah, I mean, listen, Empire folks, I know you guys are all happy. I think there is obviously a lot positive going on with Empire right now, which is about time. And it's funny, isn't it funny with this game, like how just a few changes can like completely shift how you look at things. It's cool.
I mean, yes.
Yes.
He
has a caveat.
Yeah, I do have a caveat.
I don't like it.
I actually think that the changes like don't really gel with like what we want, with at least what I want the identity of the Empire faction to be.
Mm.
You don't want it to just be dewbacks and Vader.
No. Similar to what I think is now happening with clones, like I have a little bit of an issue with the faction identity. Like you should, I don't know, but whatever. I think they're going to be good. It's going to be fine.
Yep.
So it would be cool if like I don't know. You could like take lats and tanks and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd just love to be like able to build a good old fashioned like force user plus a bunch of core units with heavies plus some special forces and a support commander style list again.
Yeah, I think you pretty much have to play Maul or Dooku if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Forward, which is what you're doing. Which is
Just, yeah, I know.
You know,
I'm not even sure that's good anymore though.
I'm not sure it is either. But if a list like that is good, you know,
I mean, a list like that relies on certain battle cards, and you can't really do that anymore. So, in the aggregate, the 4-card flip doesn't really affect that list, but the table side thing definitely does.
Yeah.
Anyway, this episode's not about that. So,
and how much you hate it.
I've already soapboxed about it. I'm not going to do it again.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun.
I'm excited to make some Empire lists. I hope that I can keep my Empire streak alive from 2 years ago. So,
Me too, Kyle. Me too.
yeah.
I just like to welcome everyone back to the Empire. You guys all took your little sabbaticals. You went and saw other lists and see how they played, and now you're back home.
I think I'm probably gonna end up playing the Saber Tank list. I'm a Timbo convert. I'm a Timbo convert.
Wow. I love how you went from what was it, mediocre to converted now.
I think I still
uninspired.
I think the Yoda list is way more interesting than the original Saber Tank list.
It's
by
pretty.
a lot.
It's pretty mean. It's
Yeah.
and it's one of those lists where like you really surprise your opponent too. Like your opponent does something and you're like, okay, stop what you're doing. I'm gonna do this and this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
And then like your opponent picks up a bunch of models and they're like, what just happened to me? You know?
Yeah.
So,
I'm all about that sort of play.
yeah,
so.
I know. I actually might I might play Republic for a bit. If I manage to win a tournament with Republic, then I've done that with all 4 factions. So
there you go.
that's like a life goal, the short-term life goal.
Short-term life goal. Well,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to eventually do it with Shadow Collective then too.
I know, but I can't do that yet. So
Sure.
And I was gonna play them anyway because Maul.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. All right. Empire good.
I mean, we'll see.
Any
They
final
should
thoughts?
be. They should be
Yeah,
good.
I would think so.
If they're not good at this point,
If they're not good after this, then something is very wrong.
That was fun. I had fun.
Yeah. I like your background, Jay.
Yeah, thanks.
it's the fate of every ATSC's ever played.
Is the ATSD blowing up in that background?
No, it's blowing things up, but that's okay.
That's what I thought.
It's like a
It looks
Rorschach
like the
test.
airspeeders. It looks like the airspeeders behind it.
Yeah, but it's dying.
I think it would be better if there was like some smoke coming out of the airspeeder.
Sure.
I'm gonna work on
It
that.
looks like the airspeeder's coming in for like the kill shot.
Could be.
Weak
know,
point rear, impact 4, surge
It's-
critical.
However you want to take it. Rorschach test. It's my parents arguing. I don't know.
All right, we
All
should
right.
we should land this plane. We're the Notorious Scoundrels. I'm Kyle.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Jay.
Stay fresh, cheese bags.